Can Laura be Wolverine when she's not Wolverine? Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the painless text and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. This is the continued story of Laura as Wolverine. Logan has died a long time ago at this point, and she took up the mantle after a long journey to prove that she is worthy. Old Man Logan is also alive in this world at this time, but he hasn't met with Laura and Gabby yet. Gabby is a clone of Laura, and Gabby is currently in their apartment playing with Jonathan, a pet Wolverine that she picked up. She smiles as she puts a mask on his face, telling him that they need to hide his identity. And then there's a shriek from Laura's bedroom, and Gabby goes to check it out, finding Laura in full costume, telling her to stay back. She leaps out the window, putting her fingers into the pose to thwip a web line, but of course she doesn't have web shooters and belly flops onto the roof of a car. Gabby rushes down in her pajamas, asking Laura what was that all about? And Laura turns to her, "Who's Laura? I'm Gwen Stacy." Meanwhile, on Earth 65, Gwen Stacy, who is also known as Spider-Woman on this Earth, suddenly forgot how to play the drums while on stage with her band. The Mary Janes all look at her like, "What are you doing?" And she tries to slam down the drumsticks only to put her hands through the drum, because Gwen Stacy has super strength. Mary Jane asks her for the drumsticks, and then she realizes that she can't get them off of her sticky hands, and she just takes off of the door. She runs outside to find her father waiting for her, and when she gets into the car, she shuts the door so hard that she breaks the glass. Super confused, her father brings her home, and an aircraft lands in their backyard. A kid walks out telling them, "My name is Reed Richards," and then he walks in telling her father that he's friends with Gwen, and he whispers to her, "Ya might want to get your Spider-Woman suit," which is upstairs. Confused as always, she goes up grabbing the suit, and then Reed takes off into the skies and explains everything that is going on. Gwen Stacy is from Earth 65, and Laura Kinney is from Marvel Prime, and they've body swapped across dimensions. The big problem is that in 3 hours, the body swap will reverse, and since they are currently occupying each other's bodies, they'll have nowhere to go, and poof, they'll be gone. So what they need to do is find each other and then find a way to swap back within 3 hours. Luckily, Reed is super smart and he can teleport her back to Marvel Prime. Meanwhile, back at the apartment with Gabby and Laura, Laura is trying to explain that she isn't who Gabby thinks she is. She's actually a girl named Gwen Stacy. Gabby explains that it's not that she doesn't believe her, but, well, she took a pretty big hit to her head. Her brain might still be healing. Then there's a knock at the door and Gwen walks in, and both of them know exactly what this means. Now, for the sake of not confusing anybody even further, because it's already going to be confusing, we're going to keep calling everyone by the body that they're in. So the person in Gwen's body will be calling Gwen, and the person in Laura's body will be calling Laura. Hopefully, that makes it less confusing. They realize that they have body swapped, and Gwen explains to Laura that they have to swap back within 3 hours or this is permanent, or they're going to die. So Gwen asks Laura to come to the window where she was hit with a blast and look across. She sees what looks like a gun, and she tells Gwen to swing over there since she has web shooters that allow her to swing around. But Gwen isn't stupid. Let me guess. I'll try, and then I'll fall, and I'll hurt myself, so I'm gonna walk. Laura agrees, telling her that maybe it's best that she doesn't break her body before she gets back into it. On the other side of the street, Gwen kicks in the door and asks Laura, "How strong are you?" And Laura tells her, "I broke a lot of treasured things before I figured that out." Inside, they find the gun, which is now broken by the door that Gwen kicked in, and then Laura picks up the scent of the person who used it. She keeps sniffing the air, and then she mentions how dumb she feels sniffing the air. But Gwen assures her, "You're unkillable with metal claws that pop out of your hands and feet. Don't worry, you're not dumb." This, of course, is a reason to pause for Laura. Wait, I have claws in my feet and fists? Does it hurt? Have you ever had a paper cut on the webbing of your hands and feet? No, that sounds terrible! Well, this is knives coming out of them. Okay, I'm not doing that. Laura points to a basement where Gwen tears the doors off of it and they step inside. And then Gwen stops as the alarms are going off in her head. And Laura tells her that that's spider sense! A flamethrower bursts out of the ground and it begins to try and roast them. Gwen grabs Laura and tries to shield her from the fire, but Laura wants to know, what is she doing? Trying to save you. Well, don't! Your body heals, mine doesn't. That's a very good point, Gwen tells her. That's when someone in a flying hornet suit arrives in front of them, demanding to know why they're here. She swoops in, opening fire on them, so Laura tells Gwen to use her webs, and Gwen takes aim and hits the ceiling. The flying robot person then opens fire on them again, so Laura grabs Gwen, getting her out of the path of destruction. Then Gwen thwips onto the hornet, pulling them down, and the hornet blasts Gwen into the wall. Thinking her body's been killed, Laura turns to the person, demanding to know who she is and why is she doing this. She begins to angrily shake her fists in front of her face, and Gwen tries to to tell her to stop, but it's too late. With that anger, Laura pops her claws into her own head, dropping herself. The robot girl lands and pulls her helmet off, deciding that she's gonna be sick, watching someone stab themselves in the head. Gwen walks over, demanding to know what's going on, and the woman explains that she fired her beam into Wolverine's apartment to get him. You know, the short and hairy guy? So who is the girl on the ground and who are you? Gwen explains that her, well, the real her, is the new Wolverine. Logan was killed and she is his daughter. The mystery woman is surprised. She had no idea. She's been living in this basement, living off ramen noodles for years, all to build the teleporter to send Wolverine away. She couldn't kill him. She just wanted him gone. Gwen walks over and retracts the claws from Laura's head so that she can heal, and Gwen asks the mystery woman why she wanted to send him away. And as it turns out, her uncle was the original Hornet, and Logan killed him. While she explains, Laura wakes up curious as to what actually happened. And since none of this is what Hornet wanted, she agrees to help them both get into their right spots in their own universes in the right bodies. Gwen walks over and she waves goodbye as Hornet warps her away. And then Laura goes to the same spot and is put back in her body. And Hornet says, "Hi, I'm Melinda." And Laura tells her name. Laura then begins to talk about what's next and asks Melinda if she'd like to work with her. She's not going to hold an urge for revenge against her because that's kind of what her entire family's about. And then with a whoosh, Melinda teleports Laura back to her apartment where Gabby and Jonathan are cheerful that she's returned. This is a nice little annual issue that came out, but don't worry, we're going to be doing the next story for the all-new Wolverine soon, where she finally meets Old Man Logan, and we're going to see the relationship between them. It's a really good story. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I hope you guys are looking forward to the next one, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter @Comicstorian and Instagram @Comicstorian. I'll see you next time right here.